In the relentless churn of the modern world, humanity finds itself in an unprecedented era of convenience and leisure. Technological advancements have streamlined labor, societies increasingly prioritize comfort, and the sheer abundance of readily available resources is staggering. Yet, this very liberation from the arduous demands of the past has ironically ushered in a new predicament. Instead of seizing this precious expanse of time to cultivate intellectual prowess, explore latent potential, or pursue noble ideals, a significant portion of humanity languishes in a state of profound passivity. They become unwitting consumers of endless streams of digital content, surrendering to the allure of facile pleasures and indolent pastimes, consequently eroding their capacity for creativity and critical thought. But is this widespread inertia merely a collection of individual choices? Or is there a more insidious force at play, a fundamental nature of passivity that silently corrodes the spirit, pushing individuals towards the shores of mediocrity and even the depths of mental decay? At first glance, the prospect of a tranquil existence, unburdened by the pressure to innovate or strive for constant upward mobility, might appear benign, even a coveted privilege bestowed by societal progress. However, a deeper examination reveals that passivity is far from a neutral state of stillness. It is an invisible undertow, a creeping spiritual malaise that infiltrates the mind, gradually dissolving the very will to engage meaningfully with life. When individuals cease to actively generate value, they progressively lose their sense of agency and control over their own existence. They transform into spectral figures adrift in the currents of time, living but not truly present. Consequently, passivity transcends a mere lifestyle choice. It morphs into a subtle but formidable trap, a mental prison that confines individuals within the cyclical confines of stagnation and meaninglessness. From the dawn of civilization, the privilege of sustained idleness was an alien concept to humankind. The lives of our ancestors were inextricably linked to unremitting labor, hunting, gathering, cultivating, each day a relentless battle for survival. No one could afford to succumb to inertia, for stagnation invariably meant hunger, disease, and ultimately death. Rest, when it occurred, was merely a fleeting respite between periods of exhaustive exertion, certainly not a readily available lifestyle option. Yet, in our contemporary era, having seemingly conquered the harsh realities of mere survival, with machines and technology now shouldering the bulk of physically demanding tasks, we find ourselves confronted with a novel paradox: an abundance of time coupled with a profound lack of direction in its utilization. The Industrial Revolution heralded a new epoch, liberating humanity from the absolute necessity of manual labor. However, instead of harnessing this newfound temporal wealth for intellectual growth and personal enrichment, a significant portion of the population has succumbed to a state of profound emptiness. They are no longer struggling to merely exist, yet they fail to strive for a life imbued with purpose and meaning. The modern pace of life, ostensibly a monumental stride in the advancement of civilization, has inadvertently fostered a stratum of individuals existing in a state of passive drift, devoid of clear direction. They navigate their days through repetitive routines, allowing time to slip through their fingers, without recognizing the gradual erosion of their capacity for reflection, creativity, and even the fundamental yearning for progress. Leisure, once a potential boon, has transformed into an invisible burden, a silent abyss steadily swallowing the human spirit, consigning it to the realms of stagnation and mediocrity. But perhaps the most alarming aspect of this modern predicament lies not in the increased availability of leisure time itself, but in the manner in which individuals utilize it to actively propel themselves into a state of mental inertia. As Colin Wilson astutely observed, in the absence of challenges and meaningful goals, the human mind does not simply remain static, it actively deteriorates. Much like an unsharpened blade that grows dull with disuse, an individual's consciousness, when deprived of the stimulation of rich experiences and profound thought, inevitably descends into a state of torpor. This intellectual and spiritual vacuum not only breeds a pervasive sense of meaninglessness, but also paves the way for a more profound mental decline. The adage, "idle mind is the devil's workshop," resonates with profound truth, as an unoccupied mind becomes fertile ground for negative thoughts to take root and flourish. gradually ensnaring individuals in the insidious cycles of boredom and depression. The philosopher Richard Taylor further illuminated this stark reality, noting that a significant portion of humanity leads lives characterized by simplicity and repetition, conspicuously lacking in aspiration or creative endeavor. They are not truly living, but merely existing. Their days unfold without significant milestones, devoid of grand ambitions, marked only by the mechanical repetition of ingrained habits. They willingly confine themselves within the ephemeral pleasures of flickering screens, vacuous conversations, and monotonous tasks. Nothing compels them to evolve into a better version of themselves. Consequently, they gradually accept this state as an immutable truth, as if life were nothing more than a sequence of inconsequential days drifting by. Yet, such an existence is far from innocuous. It represents a slow, insidious erosion of the spirit, gradually stripping individuals of their motivation, their intellectual acuity, and ultimately their very sense of self. Prolonged passivity is not merely a transient mental state, it evolves into a deeply entrenched psychological trap. Martin Seligman aptly termed this phenomenon learned helplessness. When an individual experiences repeated failures, or a perceived lack of control over their circumstances, they gradually lose faith in their ability to effect change in their own lives. They cease to take action, offer resistance, and eventually, even when presented with opportunities for positive change, they lack the intrinsic motivation to seize them. Passivity, therefore, not only weakens the spirit, but also robs individuals of their inherent will to resist. They no longer perceive themselves as having agency or the power of choice, instead resigning themselves to a predetermined fate. Worse still, advancements in neuroscience have revealed that passive activities, such as excessive television consumption, aimless social media scrolling, and immersion in fleeting consumer pleasures, are actively rewiring the brain to prioritize immediate gratification over the sustained pursuit of long-term goals. Dopamine, the neurotransmitter intricately linked to motivation and pleasure, is naturally released when individuals achieve a meaningful accomplishment after a period of dedicated effort. However, in our contemporary digital landscape, dopamine can be readily and effortlessly triggered by trivial stimuli, a fleeting like on social media, an entertaining movie, a short video clip, requiring virtually no exertion. As the brain becomes accustomed to this readily available form of reward, it becomes indolent. The capacity to endure hardship, the ability to persevere through significant challenges, gradually erodes. Instead of cultivating a yearning for meaningful growth and accomplishment, individuals become fixated on the constant, albeit shallow, drips of dopamine, maintaining them in a state of perpetual stagnation, while unknowingly facilitating their own internal degradation. One might argue that not everyone experiences unhappiness in a state of passivity. Some individuals may genuinely embrace a simple life, devoid of grand ambitions for creativity or personal development, finding contentment in the mundane and the familiar. However, the crucial question remains, is this truly a state of profound contentment, or merely a carefully constructed mental illusion designed to mask an underlying emptiness? A life devoid of meaningful challenges may offer a superficial sense of comfort, but does it equate to genuine fulfillment? Or is it simply a temporary balm applied to soothe the gnawing sensation of inner void? Richard Taylor posited that creativity is not merely a behavioral trait, but a fundamental prerequisite for attaining genuine pride, a justifiable sense of self-worth. When individuals create something of value, regardless of its scale, they experience a profound sense of forward momentum, of actively shaping their individual mark upon the flow of existence. Conversely, in the absence of any tangible accomplishments, whether it be a diligently honed skill, an expanded intellectual horizon, or a piece of creative work brought to fruition, individuals are prone to self-deception, convincing themselves that they are content and require no further striving. Yet this perceived stability is often a fragile facade, precariously concealing a deep-seated sense of emptiness. Without any compelling drive, without tangible achievements to reflect upon, can individuals truly cherish themselves? Or are they merely engaging in an elaborate act of self-deception to evade the uncomfortable truth of their own perceived insignificance? The answer, perhaps, lies in our willingness to confront or evade this fundamental reality. A life devoid of growth may not immediately precipitate overt unhappiness, but it undeniably deprives individuals of the magnificent potential that resides within each of us. Passivity is not simply a lifestyle choice. It is a profound trade-off, a price that many only fully comprehend when it is irrevocably too late. There exists a subtle yet profoundly significant distinction between genuine pride and narcissistic self-inflation, one being the radiant light of authentic growth, the other the shadowy manifestation of underlying insecurity. Richard Taylor argued that true pride is not something that can be self-proclaimed. Rather, it is the hard-earned culmination of a journey of dedicated effort, meaningful conquest, and the tangible creation of genuine value. An individual can only truly value themselves when they reflect upon their accomplishments and recognize that they are not the product of mere chance or empty praise from others, but the tangible result of their own intellectual and physical exertion. Conversely, narcissism is merely a superficial veneer, a fragile construct, wherein individuals inflate their sense of self-importance to conceal the profound emptiness that resides within. In an era where personal worth is increasingly assessed based on the ephemeral metrics of meaningless numbers, likes, followers, superficial compliments, individuals are increasingly susceptible to cultivating a distorted perception of themselves, devoid of any genuine underlying development. They may construct a dazzling online persona, projecting an image of confidence and success, but deep within, they fail to truly internalize a sense of genuine self-worth. True confidence does not emanate from external validation or superficial accolades. It springs forth from genuine competence, from challenges overcome, and from diligently honed skills. An individual may successfully deceive the entire world with carefully crafted illusions, but they cannot perpetually deceive themselves. The most fundamental divergence between genuine pride and narcissism lies in the realm of internal development. Individuals possessing authentic pride have no inherent need for ostentatious displays, for their accomplishments serve as their own irrefutable testament. They do not seek constant external validation, but possess an intrinsic understanding that they are navigating the correct path. Conversely, narcissists perpetually crave external recognition, acutely aware that without the validating gaze of others, their carefully constructed facade crumbles. Passivity readily facilitates the descent into narcissism, while proactive engagement and creative endeavor remain the sole pathways to the attainment of authentic pride. The ancient Greeks harbored no illusions regarding equality in individual achievement. They understood that while every human being possessed the fundamental right to exist, not all were destined for greatness. Some were born to blend into the fabric of the collective, leading lives of quiet conformity, repeating the patterns of countless generations before them. However, there also existed those rare individuals who dared to emerge from the shadows of mediocrity, confronting formidable challenges to ascend to heights that the majority could never reach. For the Greeks, this was not a matter of injustice, but a fundamental law of nature. Greatness was not an inherent privilege, but a conscious choice. Philosophers such as Aristotle and Plato emphatically asserted that a life imbued with meaning was not synonymous with an easy life, but rather one characterized by dedicated effort and a spirit of relentless conquest. Achievement was not the domain of the passive, but the reward for those who dared to defy prevailing trends, embracing creativity and personal growth in the face of societal apathy or even derision. The mediocre seek validation from external sources, while the truly exceptional strive for nothing less than surpassing their own previous limitations. However, to achieve this, they must possess the unwavering courage to step outside the confines of their comfort zones, confronting hardships that others actively seek to avoid. Passivity not only renders individuals indistinct and forgettable, but also erodes the very significance of their existence. A life that unfolds without the creation of anything of lasting value, without leaving an indelible mark upon the world, is akin to never having existed at all. The Greeks understood that the true measure of a human being did not lie in the duration of their life, but in the profound impact of their actions within that allotted time. And it is precisely this distinction that delineates the boundary between the ordinary and the extraordinary. If passivity is the insidious disease, then the unwavering will to transcend one's limitations is the only effective antidote. But how does one break free from this self-perpetuating cycle when comfort invariably exerts a stronger pull than challenge? When the brain is constantly enticed by the promise of instant gratification rather than the delayed rewards of long-term goals? The answer lies in the proactive creation of challenges for oneself. No individual can ascend to greatness without deliberately placing themselves in circumstances that necessitate growth and progress. Engaging in the acquisition of a new skill, committing to a rigorous physical training regimen, or delving into the depths of profound literature may not yield immediate rewards, but it is precisely these sustained efforts that form the bedrock of an individual's true worth. Challenge is not merely a catalyst for development. It is the indispensable pathway to escaping the suffocating grip of mental stagnation. Stoicism, the ancient philosophy emphasizing virtue, reason, and self-control, offers profound insights into this predicament. Stoics did not advocate for the pursuit of comfort, but rather the cultivation of resilience in the face of adversity. Philosophers such as Seneca and Marcus Aurelius did not view hardship as something to be avoided, but as an invaluable opportunity for self-refinement. They practiced negative visualization, deliberately contemplating the loss of cherished possessions and loved ones to cultivate gratitude for the present, and voluntary discomfort, intentionally subjecting themselves to minor inconveniences to fortify their willpower. This was not an exercise in self-flagellation, but a pragmatic method for preventing the debilitating effects of excessive ease. A robust spirit is not nurtured in the cradle of comfort, but forged in the crucible of adversity. Furthermore, the conscious management of dopamine levels is a critical key to breaking free from the cycle of passivity. The digital age has transformed dopamine into a readily available mental narcotic, where individuals can effortlessly seek fleeting emotional highs through social media, television, and other forms of vapid entertainment. However, the true value of dopamine lies not in passive consumption, but in active creation, diligent learning, and consistent self-improvement. Instead of allowing the brain to be dictated by the allure of instant rewards, individuals must learn to recalibrate their reward system, to experience genuine satisfaction not from mindlessly scrolling through meaningless content, but from the profound sense of accomplishment that accompanies the completion of a meaningful challenge. Ultimately, the true measure of an individual's worth is not determined by what they consume, but by what they create. Ultimately, every individual stands at a critical juncture, either to continue down the path of passivity, leading a life of muted existence and gradual self-diminishment, or to embark on the challenging yet ultimately rewarding journey of creation, self-discovery, and the unlocking of their inherent potential. No external force can compel an individual to achieve greatness, but each person must make the conscious decision as to whether they are willing to step outside the familiar confines of their comfort zone. Choosing passivity is not merely selecting a particular way of life. It is an act of profound relinquishment, surrendering the capacity for growth, abandoning the will to strive, and ultimately forfeiting one's own intrinsic value. Passivity not only condemns individuals to the realm of mediocrity, but can also precipitate a descent into depression and a profound sense of disorientation. A mind deprived of the stimulation of meaningful challenges gradually becomes vacant, fatigued, and susceptible to the fleeting temptations of the moment. Conversely, those who dare to embark on the arduous yet fulfilling journey of creation are the only ones who can truly experience genuine pride. This pride is not rooted in the fleeting validation of others, but in the profound knowledge that they are evolving into a better version of themselves each day, actively generating value rather than passively consuming it. Every monumental achievement, every significant transformation, begins with a single, seemingly small decision: to choose action over procrastination, to embrace challenge over comfort, to prioritize creation over mere consumption. This path is not for everyone, but those courageous enough to tread it are the rare individuals who truly master their own destinies. For, in the final analysis, the true meaning of a life is not measured by its duration, but by the profound impact of what one chooses to do with the precious gift of time. If this exploration of why passivity breeds mediocrity and mental illness resonated with you, please show your support by giving this video a like and subscribing to our channel for more thought-provoking content. Thank you for watching and engaging with these important ideas.